welcome back, and thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. And right now, as is the norm at the second part of the show, we do have our gold conversation, and today it's happening on location with Mr. William, who is a breeder, and he will be shedding more light on sheep farming in Kenya. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us today, and we will start by, what is a breeder? What job do they do, and what role do they have to play in the space of sheep farming?
Thank you very much. For those who might be asking the same question, who is a breeder? A breeder is a person who has a passion on a certain aspect of an animal or a certain breed of animal, maybe a certain genetic orientation, and who wishes to nurture that animal either to advance its offspring or to advance its value addition, or maybe try to get other livelihood from there, that you can also even have it for luxury objectives.
So when did you notice you have a passion for breeding, and also what breed are you very passionate about?
I ran a venture under the name Acacia Velds Livestock Breeders. That's an enterprise I came up with out of passion turning into an enterprise. This dates back to the time I was in class 3. Brought up in a family where livestock was the order of the game. We used to have cows, goats, sheep, and I also have other animals like cats and dogs. Basically, I have nurtured my passion to become an enterprise.
Let's talk about the breeds that you're working on, and also how you've been able to turn that from just a passion to a business.
During my growing up, we used to have what you call kienyeji, a sheep which would resemble Dorpers, red Maasai, the Gala goats. But way back in 2013, that's when I went to South Africa, and I found that they have what we call Dorper here, but the Dorper in that country was a different thing. Very huge, has a very high growth rate, and then I could see that it has a serious business opportunity on different value addition products like meat. So I decided, wow, why can't we try this?
Right.
And I didn't look back. Since 2013, I have been sourcing animals from South Africa, and we have also now given that to many farmers in this country.
Do we have enough breeders in the country, and also are we in a situation where someone can pose as a breeder and they promise you that they are able to get you 100% Dorper for this sheep, and then they bring you other things?
I would say there are few pure breeders, but we have farmers. Those who keep an animal that looks black-headed in the name of a Dorper. But those who are doing the proper advancement of the genetic, the Dorper breed genetics, are very few, and they can be counted.
Right.
But this game plan is coming up, becoming popular, and especially also with the pastoral communities, they are adopting the animal, especially the Dorper, the pure breed, for breed improvement. And you are finding that they are also now able now to advance towards the climate change goals. They're able to move from the many animals to now fewer valuable animals that give them returns, and now they are moving from the nomadic pastoralism to sedentary type of farming.
We're surrounded by Dorper sheep. Yeah. Can you certify that these are 100% pure Dorper?
Quite a number of them are 100% pure Dorpers.
And those that are not 100%, what is it that you can see in them that can give you that difference?
What we focus on when we are looking at the classification of a pure Dorper, one thing, it has to have been bred for so long to the extent that you have closed any other genetic that would vary from the options of what we define as a Dorper. Like, for example, in South Africa, where the Dorper was bred as a crossbreed between the Dorset Horn and the black-headed Persian, they have what we call the T series. The topmost Dorper is T5, and T5 is based on 5 parameters. We talk of the body size, the body conformations, the color, the fatty distribution, and the wool, the way it looks like. Wool or hair or that kind of thing. So an animal that fetches 5 out of 5 score in all those 5 parameters is classified as a T5. But we have brought quite a number here from South Africa to the base camp. Once you go towards T3, T2, T1 are kienyeji. So I would say anybody even sourcing livestock in the name of Dorper should not focus on 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 and 5. We advise T5 is the best for breeding. Yeah.
And most of the time when people are ordering, what do they order in that range?
If you are not honest, you can mislead farmers. because basically Kenyans just ask for Dorper, just give me Dorpers. And that's why we are even going ahead talking to breed inspectors in South Africa to come and give localized training in our farms so that the farmers can become empowered. We also do in-house training for farmers who wanted to come and learn about Dorpers, because they will just tell you, give me a Dorper, but they don't even know their classification. So for us, with that passion, and we wanted to help farmers, we have focused in ensuring that integrity is key, and we are sourcing the animals that meet those aspirations of a T5 class. I always say, if you find a farmer just displaying any kind of an animal, and even saying, even the word T5 is being abused in Kenya, a T5 must be done by a certified breed inspector who has undergone all those legals and have been approved by the Breeder Society, like the Kenya Dorper Breeder Society and South African Breeder Society. They have those kind of norms and principles that are supposed to be adhered to. So when you talk of that you have just Dorpers, you might be having what you call phenotype. Phenotypes is the physical outlook, the colors. So an animal having a black head and the white body does not necessarily mean it's a pure Dorper.
And that's what people say, akona kichwa black.
It can be even be a daughter or a son of a red Maasai crossbred with a Dorper. Right. So what's happening, if it's not pure, what will happen at a certain point, you find what you considered a Dorper giving birth to a brown sheep. That means genetically, you only address the phenotypes, the looks, but the genotypes you have not addressed.
You have mentioned to us the classifications from T5 to T1, understanding that T5 is the most supreme, but kindly just expound a bit more on those 5 qualities.
If you remember the 5 qualities, I'll try to explain how they are looked at, but I'll warn the viewers, it is not an event. It is a long process that has been researched on over time to ensure those observable traits are able to be maintained phenotypically across the breed, and the breed has capability to maintain those standards. Right. So that's where we go for those animals that would want or desirable for genetic transfer to different, to the generations, that is.
All right.
So when we talk of a T5, and we are looking at the size, remember a T5 can be graded even from 10 months to 1 year going up. So what happens when you're talking of a T5 in reference to size, we have some weight accumulation and growth rate that has been researched. Like, for example, if a T5 has been born and has been bred the way it is supposed to be and fed the way it is supposed to be, it should be in a position to add weight, 208 grams per day for at least the first 3 months. So it should be meeting at least that 80 to 42 kilograms by the 3rd month. That is one thing. So when you are looking at T5 in reference to size, has it reached its target size in terms of the body in reference to its age? And the Dorper has capacity to grow up to 120 kilograms when it's mature for a ram, and for a female it can do from 60 to 80, almost to 100 kilos. You should be meeting your market aspiration by 10 months. You should be having a full visible animal that has accumulated the targets.
Great.
And for meat, you can get to the market at 6 months. The organic labs. Yeah.
All right.
The next thing that we look at when we are looking at the T5 is the body conformation. When you look at the body conformation, we are simply talking of traits that are desirable. Like, for example, the chest must be wide, the legs must be well formed, not knocked knees. The body must be having a flat spine. The ears must not be dropping, must be a bit alert. The head must be a bit well formed. For rams, they must be masculine. For females, they must be feminine, like the long neck and a jebel-like type of muzzle. When we talk of parameters like the wool must be the wool that you look like. It's more of not very curly, and has also tendency, if you touch it, you feel like it's almost pricking you, a bit hard.
Right.
And it is growing in a way that it is capable of even shedding at a certain point.
We can see parts of the wool is coming out. Is that natural, and at what point does that start happening?
That's what the breed inspectors normally use to tell if an animal has what a parameter we talked about, fat distribution. When a sheep has started having proper fat distribution, because sheep does not keep its fat like other types of sheep, like Persians, where they keep at the tail, it distributes in the entire body. So when there is that accumulation of fat, the wool also tends to shed. So it's not a must you shave your sheep. It can shed on its own. And that's a good parameter to tell that it has very good fatty distribution.
Right. Just in case a farmer wants to go ahead and do the shaving by themselves instead of waiting for my sheep to shed, is there a problem in doing that?
You operationalize your program according to the climatic variations of your area. Like here in Gong, it's a bit chilly. So you find you don't need to offload the wool on your sheep because you'll be exposing them to pneumonia and bad weather. In places like Laikipia, where it is hot and a bit of Kajiado, you have to shave them, especially in hot months, just to make them comfortable. Again, wool shaving has various reasons. It can be because of wool. It can be you wanted to protect the animal from hosting pests like that is ticks, fleas, mites. So it's a way of hygiene as well.
Some of those characters that you have mentioned that can certify that you have 100% Dorper sheep, are you also able to see some of those in other varieties of breeds?
You can tell someone who has that kind of thing, but it is a breed standard is not only about the looks. You must have records. You must have proper records that shows you have bred this one from this fathering line or siring, right? And this is the dam, the female. And over generations, you have been consistent. And the worst thing you can do is to do what you call inbreeding, where the father is breeding with the daughters and the sons are breeding with the mothers or sisters.
Is that a common mistake you've seen other farmers do?
A big one, because there are those farmers who have a passion. They want to cling to their animals. Even when it has grown up daughters, it is still in the heart. Either you separate the animal completely and only bring it when you are very sure that it's going to serve only those that it is not related in terms of bloodline.
Right.
And that's why we are having that program of sourcing animals, even external, because inside Kenya, we are having a problem of farmers who are having breed records. So you might end up mixing and causing a very serious inbreeding, which has serious repercussions in terms of growth. The repercussions of inbreeding are dire and serious. One, you bring up an animal that doesn't grow to its optimal growth rate. The other thing, that's weight. Weight is not achieved, body size is not achieved. You may have some undesirable traits like deformed legs and disabled animals. The other thing that you may get into is you find that the animal genes are not improving in any way.
So much to learn right here from Mr. William, who is a breeder. We do want to take a break right now, but when we come back, we'll be talking a lot more on the objectives of breeding. So please do stick around.